Good morning, everybody. We are back again with another conversation with another friend. I can't tell you how much I am enjoying these conversations. I learn so much. I hope you learn a little something too. Today, we are going to be talking about the gut brain axis. If you've not heard about this is truly exciting stuff because everything in our body is connected. And our guest today is Dale, and I'm going to throw it to you, Dale, to introduce yourself, please.
Hello, thank you so much, Dawn, for having me. It is such a pleasure. I love the opportunity to share this information. So important for our people. Um, my name is Dale LaCure, and I've been in the health and wellness industry for really my whole life. I am a mental wellness advocate, and I believe that information is power. And to get information into the hands of people that need help in dealing with stress resilience and brain fog and anxiety and sleep and all those things that really create a healthy, happy life.
Awesome. So tell me about the gut brain axis. Explain it to me. What exactly is that?
So it's really, really interesting, fairly new science. We know now that the gut is the second brain. So some of you may have heard of that as, like what exactly does that mean? So basically what that means is that the gut communicates with the brain. And what we know now from science is that 90% of serotonin, which is our feel-good chemical, is created in the gut. 75% of dopamine, which is our neurotransmitter for motivation. GABA is another one that helps us to stay calm during stressful times. And then norepinephrine, which is one that helps us to focus. So all of these neurotransmitters, and there's many more, are created in the gut. So if your gut is out of balance, then you're not receiving those neurotransmitter signals to the brain. So initially people thought, if you had anxiety or depression or inability to focus or that it all started in the head. But what we know now is that it really starts in the gut. So the gut is considered really the motherboard of our health, which is
Right.
super
And
interesting.
it is very interesting to me because, we think about the food we put in our body as far as, yes, we should eat more vegetables. We shouldn't eat too much, bad food. And we think of it strictly as, thinking about like our cholesterol, our heart health, our weight, right? And it's all those we shoulds, we shoulds, we shoulds. But if you don't make the connection between that and our brain, there's just so much more that putting the right things in our body can help with, right?
Absolutely.
Um, so we talk about how sugar is such a bad thing. I feel like sugar is a really, if we're, and I'm a sugar person, so I'm speaking from experience. I know that that's how I can mess myself up in so many ways is when I get to a point where I'm ingesting way too much sugar on a regular basis, right? So talk
Yes.
to us about that just a little bit.
Yeah, this is definitely like one of my favorite topics because I don't think people realize how much it messes up both our body and our brain. So what it does, and it's super addictive, like you said, it is like the more sugar you eat, the more sugar you want.
Right?
Uh,
Haven't they done brain scans where they show that sugar lights up the same places in the brain as heroin and cocaine?
yes, it's amazing. It is truly amazing. So what's happening is, and why those cravings are so strong for people is when you eat sugar, it creates unhealthy bacteria in the gut. And those unhealthy bacteria want to stay alive. They want to keep growing. So they need sugar to keep on growing. So that's why you have that incredible craving. It's because your body's saying, I need more. I need more to stay alive. I don't want to, I want this bacteria to keep on growing. So what is super interesting is when you start to repopulate the gut with good bacteria, those cravings go away. And I can speak to that firsthand. And so the reason being is when you have the good bacteria is then going to overgrow and push that bad bacteria out. So the cravings become less and less and less and are gone. So what we see is people losing weight, which is kind of a side benefit. And it's because the sugar cravings are gone. It also, when you repopulate the gut, you'll see there's less inflammation in the body. So that's another reason.
Right. All the
Why.
bloating starts
Yeah,
leaving.
yes, all of that. So it's really, really interesting, the way that all works. So it's, if people could understand that, and then in terms of like not only, so sugar is like a huge, huge, what's the word I want to use, but something that really upsets the gut. But the really the number one thing that really upsets the gut, I mean, food definitely. There's like acidic foods like meat and dairy and gluten. Those things cause like inflammation and dysbiosis in the gut. But the number one thing that causes dysbiosis in the gut is stress, which, people wouldn't think, like, why would stress upset my gut? Well, I mean, some people know, kids know, because when kids are upset, typically they're like, I have a tummy ache. You know what I mean? Like they get the connection. And some people, when they're really stressed, they'll either eat too much or they're not able to eat.
Right. I was just going to
So,
say one
yeah,
feeds the other too, right?
yeah,
Stress. And then you go for those comfort foods. You want the instant gratification. And then next thing you know, again, speaking from experience, you're on this roller coaster of, oh, satisfy the on just the visceral level of eating the sugar and the comfort food, and you get this momentary high
mhm,
energy, and then you crash and you feel even worse than you did before you
yes, yeah,
started getting your comfort back. So you end up on this horrible cycle. I just got myself out of the cycle recently, and got to the point that when I would go to bed at night, I would feel like I was hungover. That's
mm,
how much sugar I was ingesting over the course
wow,
of the day, during this last cycle. And I was like, oh man, Dawn, you really need to do something because this is horrible. I had absolutely no energy. I had absolutely no motivation to do anything.
mhm,
My whole entire body hurt. And
yeah,
I was like, I was so miserable until, and I know this. I am schooled in this. And even
mhm,
I can let myself get to this point where I finally had to snap out of it and go, Dawn, you know what you're doing. You are not this, you cannot attribute this to being 59 years old. You know better. Stop it.
wow,
And so I did, but other people may not have the knowledge or know these connections. And
right,
so the highs and the lows, right? We all kind of get that with, right? The crash, the sugar
yeah, the
crashes. We've
blood
all heard of
sugar,
that. But to
right,
bring in the actual um, connection between our gut bacteria and all those happy hormones you talked about, right?
yeah,
That we,
that's amazing.
so depression, anxiety, all of those
Inflammation,
things.
an inability to focus, inflammation, all of the things that you just said. And sugar, yeah, diet is super important, and diet and exercise and water intake.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
super
water.
important in, getting your body to be in good balance. But again, um, foods will get you to a certain level, but repopulating the gut will bring you to yet the next level, and definitely. So bring you to optimal health. We have this, really interesting, assessment, like it's a mental wellness assessment. And if any of you would like to take it, just, reach out to Dawn and I can give you the link for it. But it's like a 5-minute questionnaire. And it basically gives you a score of where you land on the mental wellness continuum. And 0 is like disease state, like, inflammation, just depression, anxiety. And 10 is optimal health, great digestion, great energy, mental clarity, vigor, just like feeling great, like completely alive with
And
everything in balance.
so the good news is if you get a really scary score, how quickly can somebody start getting on the road to optimum health? Like how quickly can that really happen?
Yeah, it's incredible, the stories that we see in my mental wellness warriors group. Um, it really depends. The rule of thumb is 30 days to for every year that your body's kind of out of whack. But So it can be a long time, but typically we see change within 60 to 90 days. And you're going to see like changes along the way. It's kind of like the peeling of an onion. You know, it gets a little bit better, then a little bit better. Then all of a sudden, typically what we first see when people start to repopulate is mental clarity. We see that brain fog lift. Then we see people having better energy. Then we notice people's digestive is different. Maybe they weren't regular, now they are. So we see like gradual things along the way. It's not like it all happens like at once.
Which
Um,
is which I love, because anybody who tries to sell me something that is going to change my life overnight, I do not believe them, right? There really aren't quick fixes. There are just really um, quick things we can do that we are going to have to undo later. I feel like when you grab onto those quick fixes,
right.
they
So
have
it's
they have the back door that's going to slam on you.
yeah,
Um,
and I was in that industry. I was in, you know, another, I was with another company for 10 years, and our focus was weight loss, although I was always trying to talk to people about health and wellness. Like, let's worry about the weight. Let's just get healthy, and the weight will fall. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but anyway, it was branded as a weight loss company. So I would have people that would lose 100 pounds, but then they'd gain it all back
right.
because it wasn't. They had the mentality of a quick fix. Anything that you want to do for your health has to be a lifestyle. Has to be a commitment to wellness,
Right.
and
And
it's a day by day by day,
right,
year
because
by
we
year
didn't
by
get
year.
here overnight, right?
Right, right.
Right? It could be, like you were saying, it could be years of
Yeah,
making bad choices.
right.
But I'll also say this, and this comes from personal experience too. You don't know how bad you were feeling until you
Mm,
start feeling better,
so true.
right?
So true.
You're used to, because it that the inflammation doesn't happen overnight. You know, the brain fog doesn't happen overnight. It all comes in small increments, and we notice it at first, and then we just get used to it and used to it and used to it.
Right.
But when we start feeling a little bit better, holy crap, like, whoa, all right, I didn't really wasn't aware of how bad I felt until
Yeah. Yeah. It's really
today. It was
interesting.
easier to get out of bed. Like, I woke
Right.
up and I was ready.
Yeah. And that thing that would normally like set me off doesn't set me off anymore. Like we hear that all the time. But what we do see also is like you're saying, there's this progression. So what happens is all of a sudden people are like, they have this mental clarity, then they have this energy. And then it's like, you know what? I feel like I want to exercise now. You know, so then they start exercising and then they're like, you know what? I don't want to eat that cake. I don't even want it. You know what I mean? So I'm going to make better food choices. And then you see this cascade of wellness and taking care of yourself. And it's like the better you feel, the better you want to feel, which is what I love. And we
Right.
and
And when you're not eating those things on a regular basis, the on the times where you do step out and go, "Oh, it's Thanksgiving. I'm going to have the pumpkin pie." I guarantee you that pumpkin pie tastes like heaven if you haven't been heavily eating sugar in your recent history.
but it also tastes like way too sweet. Like
Exactly. You can have
yeah,
much smaller piece and
yes,
feel completely like, "Oh, all right, I'm
absolutely.
done. I have tasted all I want to taste."
Yes,
It's true though.
it is. It's
And
so
you don't know it until it happens to you. Like, I'm sure there's people out there listening right now who are going, "Yeah, right, no. Just try to sell us something else." But it is true. Like ice cream. Ice cream, I love ice cream so much, but if I'm not having it on a regular basis, like we try to have it once a week on Saturdays, right? It's ice cream day. So we go to King Dairy and we get our ice cream, and it's it's as if I'm having ice cream for the first time once a week, because I'm not doing it on a regular basis.
yeah, yeah, that's true. It is true for sure. It's very interesting how that all works. It really does. And what also is the reason too is like foods like sugar and meat and dairy and gluten, all those things cause like a lot of acidity in the body. So when your body's really acidic, well, again, you have the craving, you have the inflammation, all of that. But when you become more alkaline and start adding more vegetables and whole foods and that kind of thing, and then your body doesn't want the acidic things. It's kind of like like that vinegar, what's that experiment with the vinegar and baking soda? So the baking soda being very alkaline, the vinegar being very acidic, it's like an explosion. So when your body becomes more alkaline, it's like you don't want those things, and they taste different. They totally taste different than they did. So that's also really interesting to me.
So, but people are going to take that at very face value. Explain to me or to everyone how lemon and lemon juice, we think of that as an acidic food, right?
Yes, but it's not.
Please explain that to people,
Yes.
because it's
So
not as simple as, oh, so I won't eat pickles and these things, right, that they think that are acidic. But what when we ingest that lemon juice or whatever, our body does what?
So it, even though it is a citrus fruit and acidic, once it gets into the body, it becomes an alkaline fruit. So there are lists that you can look up and Google acidic foods, foods that are, pH, and foods that are neutral. So if you look at that list and try to get like 80% of that list as alkaline foods, then you're doing your body good, because we know, again, through science, that cancer cannot live in an alkaline environment. So it's good to get ourselves as alkaline as we can.
Right. And sugar is a very acidic
Yes,
food for our body.
yes,
So if you, right? So if your minds are working on this, sweet vegetables like carrots and things, those will be higher on the acidic scale versus what? Greens,
yeah, greens, definitely greens.
very alkaline,
Yes,
right?
yes. Yeah, and some nuts are more alkaline than others. Almonds are more alkaline. Cashews are more acidic. There's different, Brazil nuts are more alkaline. So I don't know all of the foods off the top of my head, but I've looked at the list numerous times. So, I mean, and again, it's not about like completely like I can never eat sugar again. There's got to be moderation in life. Otherwise, people are not going to stick with it. But, do your best. I mean, I work, every day on my health. I try to do something like, okay, I made a bad choice. Maybe I ate that blueberry pie or whatever, which that absolutely tasted too sweet to me. So, so I'm just like, no more of that. It's over. It's done. So just every day, like, what can you do? Can you get more water in today? Can you eat some more vegetables today? Can you get more exercise today? Like, just be kind to yourself. Don't be like, I can't, don't get stressed about it.
Right. You can't change everything in one
Yeah,
day when your lifestyle has been this for how many years. You
right.
cannot do that. And you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to allow yourself to go, see, I can't do this, and fall back into that pattern of behavior.
Right.
So there's
So,
also
yeah,
talk about how disease, right? Disease is, what is the percentage these days of lifestyle and how that affects disease?
oh, I don't know the exact percentage. I
It's
really,
well over 80%
I was going to
of
say
disease can
90%.
be
Yeah,
connected directly back to our lifestyle,
lifestyle. Yeah,
right? What we put in our body, what we don't put in our body that we should, whether
right.
we move or not, right?
Absolutely. So going back to what you said about, starting with one thing, like let today or this week, if you're not drinking any water, that is so, so important. So if you're a person that hasn't been drinking water at all, the goal of amount of water is half of your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you want to try for 100 ounces. Now, you're not going to do that tomorrow. You're not going to do that today. But if you can fill up a pitcher of water and commit to that pitcher of water throughout the day, then you are on a great track. And do that for a week, 2 weeks, until it becomes a habit. Then move on to something else. Okay, I commit to 10 minutes of exercise, whether it be, you know, getting on a treadmill, whether it's walking in place, whether it's dancing for a couple of songs, whether it's stretching, whether it's yoga, whatever, 10 minutes a day, start there. Commit to that. Do that for 2 weeks again until it becomes a habit. Then move on to maybe I'm going to up it to 20 minutes a day. You know what I mean? Like just
Yep.
little bits so that you can master one thing at a time. And then you'll feel better. You'll be really proud of yourself. You'll give yourself a huge pat on the back. And then you feel good to do more. I mean, that's
Right. Right. Like even, you know, if the big deal is you want to lose weight and you've got this great big goal, instead of looking at 60 to 70 pounds worth of weight loss, go, okay, make every 5 pounds a goal.
Yeah.
5 pounds at a time. Just look at, I'd like to lose 5 pounds. When you lose that 5 pounds, say, I'd like to lose 5 pounds. 5 pounds seems so like that is not threatening. It's not a huge deal. 5 pounds is such a nice little package. Anybody can go, oh, well, I can lose 5 pounds. So just keep losing 5 pounds,
Yeah,
people.
that's great. That's great too. Another thing, like with really, when people, even still, people come to me for weight loss, I'm just like, you know what? We're going to get your gut in balance first, and then we'll talk about the weight loss because the gut is going to do many things, and weight loss is a side benefit. So if people are really stressed out, they're not going to lose weight no matter what. But if we can get their serotonin pumping and their cortisol levels down, they're going to lose weight. So I'm like, let's focus on how you feel emotionally, and then let's see what happens to the weight without even talking about the weight. You know what I mean? Because once you start feeling good emotionally, you reduce the cortisol levels, you increase the serotonin, you're going to make better food choices, you're going to want to drink more water, you're going to want to exercise, and the weight is just going to follow. So let's
Right.
not focus on the weight because the weight is so secondary. The weight is just a symptom of the emotional stuff that's going on in your body.
Yes, thank you for that. Right. There are, you know, actual physiological things that people can be dealing with that put them in that overweight position. But the majority of us, that is not the case. Right.
Right. Because typically, like if somebody is stressed, they're going for the comfort foods. You know what I mean? So, and if they're not eating at all, which if you don't eat at all, then your metabolism is shot. So anytime you do eat, it's just going to go right to,
Right.
the
Your
fat.
body is your
Yeah,
body is feeling starvation mode. So anything you give it,
exactly.
it's going to hold on to.
Yes, absolutely. So, and I think some women do that. They think, well, if I don't eat, I'm going to lose weight. No, it doesn't really work that way.
It does for a little bit.
A little bit,
A
yeah,
little
maybe.
bit, but it's going to come back. It's that backdoor thing I was talking about, people.
Yeah,
It's going to come back and it's going to hit you hard, and the repercussions of it are going to be worse than where you started.
yeah, and your body needs nutrients to
Right.
function. So, you're not going to be a happy camper if you're not if you're not eating and you're not nourishing your body and giving it what it needs.
Right. And that's a really good that made something pop into my head. Your body can only give you signals, right? You have to learn, just like when you bring home a new baby or a puppy or a kitten, you have to learn their signals for what they want. Your body can only give you so many signals because your body doesn't physically talk to you. It can't say, "Hey Dawn, you need some vegetables right now." Our body sends us a signal that we're hungry. So if we're giving it the wrong thing, our body is still starving for the nutrients. So it's going to keep sending you the signal that you're hungry, but your
Mhm.
body is depending on you to make the right choices. Right.
Right, right.
So we can
But
see people who are overweight, right? But they are starving for nutrition. Their body is
right,
starving for nutrition.
right.
Um,
And another
even
thing is your body doesn't differentiate between hunger and thirst.
correct. I was just going to say that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, you think that you're hungry, but you just ate an hour ago. Well, maybe it was void of nutrients, which is what you're saying. Your body's saying, I need more. I need some nutrients. Give me something. But it could also be saying, I'm dehydrated, and you don't know, the body doesn't distinguish between hunger and thirst. So try drinking that glass of water first and then see if you still feel hungry.
Right. So let's talk about, because a lot of times people are so hung up on what we've been told we need to lose weight. Like for years and years and years, we were told that fat is the devil and our body needs fat. Our brain needs certain good fat in order to work properly. Right.
So do our hormones. Our hormones
Thank
need
you.
that. Yeah,
Right. So speak to
absolutely.
that. Like, what are those things that we need to be making better choices about? What are the good fats?
Yeah, so I think we all know that I mean, I hope that we know, because that screwed us up so bad when people were like the low fat diet, the low fat diet. So, avocados, nuts, um, those are basically the oils, making sure that they're high quality oils, they're cold pressed oils, like, virgin olive oil, not safflower or canola oil, like a high quality oil that's been cold pressed so it hasn't been heated. And be careful too with heating the oils. Make sure if you're going to use an oil and you're going to heat it, that it's a high heat oil. Otherwise, that's a whole nother can of worms, hydrogenated oils, and that whole thing is major carcinogen. So oils are really important. So, like putting oil on your salad, which is great, so that, like you're saying, you need that for your brain function, you need that for hormones. But the good oils will also burn the bad fats. The good fats will burn the bad fats. So I'm a huge advocate of taking, the omegas, really important every day for brain function. I mean, we're looking at like Alzheimer's and that kind of thing. Like, you want to be giving your brain what it needs. It just, knowledge is power. I keep on saying, like, if you want to live a good, healthy life, do your research, learn what is good for your brain, learn what is good for your body, and do the best you can. And don't beat yourself up over it.
Absolutely. Um, the other thing I want people to understand, and you can speak to this as well, is that we come into this world and we have predispositions to things based on our genes and our heritage, right? But that doesn't have to be a sentence that
Absolutely.
that we are dealt. It's recent science that we can turn on and turn off those genes that we may have been born with that give us a predisposition to heart disease or certain cancers, etc., right? And
Mhm.
that all comes from how we feed ourselves too. The amount when I learned this, it turned me on so much because I was like, there is so much more that we are in control of
Yes.
rather than being fear based, like, please don't let me get cancer. Please don't let me get
Right.
cancer. There's actual physical things concrete things I can do for myself that will help and benefit me to not get those diseases just because they are
Absolutely.
in my gene pool.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much research on this, and especially when you look at like identical twins and you see one twin got cancer, the other one lived a very, very long, healthy life. Yeah, absolutely. Your lifestyle is the most important factor, and it hurts me when I hear people say, oh, you know, my family has diabetes, like we're all going to get it, like, and to accept that label. And like you're saying, like, we have heart disease in my family, so I'm going to get it. Like, that's just not the way to like take control of your life. You're kind of like surrendering to that, which,
Right.
like you're saying, we have so much more control over our health than we realize.
Right. And it's not even just what we put into our bodies. Let me go back to the mental health issue. It's our environment, our home environment, our work environment, right? We have control over all of that as well, right? We
Yes, and our ability to handle stress and how we let things land on us.
the
You know,
people we surround ourselves with or not.
it's
Right?
up
I
to
mean, we
us.
know the people we hang out with. There are some that we walk away and we're like, "Oh my God, that 2 hours was the best 2 hours I gave myself this week was to hang out with so and so for that 2 hours." And there's other people that we run into in the grocery store, have a brief conversation, and you walk away and you are just physically, emotionally drained from that short conversation, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you know, if we pay attention and we don't have, we are under no obligation, right, to stay or bring into our circle those toxicities.
yes, absolutely. So I love the quote. I think I'm not sure who said it, maybe Tony Robbins, I'm not sure, but to stand guard at the gateway to your brain, stand guard to what you allow in to your thoughts, because they will affect your body. You cannot separate the body and the mind and the spirit. You cannot. They all have to be one. You can't um, want to live, want to be like in this very beautiful life, but yet your body, you're completely disregarding what it needs. You know what I mean? You cannot feed one without the other. So the thoughts, the body, the mind, everything, the gut, the gut, like I said, goes back, is really doing everything. It's the motherboard. It dictates everything, our immune system, our sleep, our energy, our joy, our happiness, our ability to let things roll off of us. It all has to do with the gut and the signals that we're getting from the microbiome in the gut. And that's really my mission, is to educate people to know that there is this physiological piece that you may not know about, that once you address that, you're going to feel very different emotionally. So
So what does that entail? Give us a run through about a typical day for you, Dale.
so I start my day usually reading just for a few minutes, just to get some good thoughts in there. I love to read like just quotes from like Oprah, or, Brene Brown, or whoever your person is. I fill myself with that. I get on the treadmill for 20 minutes. I do some stretching, some lifting, and then I have my shake. And in my shake is where my probiotics, my prebiotics, my phytobiotics go, along with other supplements that I take for focus and for energy. And so I kind of load my shake up with everything. I like to get it all done. I put my greens in there, and then I start my day, and then lunchtime, I have usually like leftovers or something like that. Dinner, a healthy dinner. I drink my water all throughout the day. I have 3 glasses sitting right here at my desk. And I just continued, I'll get up and move around. I definitely have to get up and move around, do some more stretching, maybe do some push-ups, whatever, just to keep my energy flowing. I got to move my body multiple
Right. I find that if I'm stuck mentally, like trying to sort something out, I know that if I go out and do a quick walk up and down my block, go
Yeah.
go out and pick up after my dogs in the backyard,
Mm.
anything that takes me out of my head allows the subconscious to do its work, and all of a sudden it'll hit me like, oh wow, oh, and it's usually quite simple, right? And it doesn't take long for it to come
Oh,
around and fix it for me and give me the way through or out. But if I sit at my desk and really try and puzzle it out, it could take me 2 hours. But a
right.
quick 20 minutes of getting down on my mat and moving my body the way
Yeah.
it feels good today, or any of those things, all of a sudden your subconscious goes, oh, well, here you go, here's the answer.
Yeah, it's like that creative flow. You know what I mean? It just opens it up. It really does. Yeah.
Awesome. So what else, do you have anything else that you feel is really important to tell folks today?
I would just encourage everyone to really, do the research, like learn about the gut brain connection. There's just so much new science coming out. What was the article I was reading this morning? Oh, it was just about, it was about stress and the microbiome, and, also around COVID too, because in the gut, in the microbiome, like I said before, the immune system, 80% of those cells are in the gut. So it really all just points to that. So, learn about it, read about it. I'm happy to answer any questions and show you. We have like a clinical study that we have that shows, increase in stress resilience, energy, sleep, mood disorders down. It's just really fascinating stuff. And if you have children or know someone, the
I was
children,
just gonna, I was just gonna
um,
add that if you didn't.
yeah, the children, that literally brings tears to my eyes, honestly. When I hear these stories of kids, little ones, like 6 years old, 7 years old, 8, 9, 10, and these kids, they have no self-esteem. They are hurting themselves. They cannot focus in school. They're getting D's and F's. And now they get their gut back in balance, and the teachers sending notes like, what are you doing with your son? Like, he's a different child, like literally like in 30 days, like from D's and F's to A's and B's, like to being a problem in class, being a joy in the classroom. When I hear stuff like that, I think, oh my gosh, like that child's life has just been changed. Like the writing on the wall is so different than if he had continued on this path of, medications or, just
And labels, right? Because,
labels.
and then, the school system starts putting them on a different trajectory, like,
Right,
and where they push them based on their opinions of what this child is capable of. And
right.
you're right, it is the saddest thing to watch that
It's hard.
systematically break down that
Oh,
completely perfect little being,
yeah,
right? We're
yeah.
all born with all the potential in the world, and such a
Oh,
simple thing could be done to
right,
help, and
right,
and then put them in the position to show that, yes, I am capable of all the things.
right. It's amazing. I mean, and you see the stories in there, and it literally makes me cry. And then I think about also the mom, like, so you have a mom now, postpartum depression is on the rise. It's like 30%, which is crazy. But think about not only that mom suffering, how does that trickle into the rest of the family? How is her depression going to run into the rest of the family? You're talking about a family unit that's going to fall apart. So if
Right,
we can get that mom feeling good, that's going to impact that child's life, that family unit. Like, it's unbelievable what we see. It's just,
right. And you're
it's,
right. I would love to know why it's happening at so much more of a prevalent state,
yes,
the postpartum depression, right? And I don't think
yes.
it's as simple an answer as, oh, now we're aware of it. I don't believe that. I really
No,
don't.
I mean, it's on the rise. Everything is on the rise. Our millennials are a mess. They are a mess. And it goes back to the gut. I'm sorry, I have to keep saying, but it's true.
Right,
Look at the stress that we're under. Look at the way people are eating. Our kids are not sleeping. Like, I mean, that plays complete havoc on your psyche. I mean, you cannot live where you're not sleeping. You know what I mean? But
right,
the stress levels are high, the nutrition is low, and that all just tears up the gut. So they're not getting the signals. They're not getting those. They're not getting the feel good chemicals. They're not getting those signals that help them to be able to focus and help them to be motivated. I mean, dopamine is the neurotransmitter that helps us to feel good about, being motivated and getting the task done. If that's not getting to our brain, then we're just a big blob in the chair, like just not feeling like doing anything.
right,
So, and also the toxins that we're exposed to every day, that does a number on our gut. I mean, it's just, it's there's many issues. There's many issues, but this is a great place to start, to really start to rebuild, and you'll see changes along the way. And like I said before, once you start feeling better, then you start doing better. Then you want to do more. Then you want to do more. You know what I mean? And then you have someone who's feeling happy and balanced and living a vibrant life like we're all supposed to be living or
right.
deserve to be living.
And all you have to do is take the first step. If you have questions, reach out to
Yeah.
Dale. I can tell you from firsthand experience, she's very easy to talk to. She will answer your questions. She will give you resources that you can read and watch and learn from. Um,
Mhm.
and she's not going to just try and sell you something. So reach out, get your answers. It doesn't have to be this way, I guess, would be my biggest thing I'd like to leave people with is life does
Mhm.
not have to be this hard, and we have more control over our overall well-being than we can even imagine. The body is such a resilient being. Our mind is a big part of that.
Absolutely. And you deserve to live a happy, abundant, fruitful, joyous life. I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, you don't have to settle for sickness, and it doesn't have to be that way. Our bodies are miraculous. They know how to heal themselves, but we have to get them into the right environment to do that.
I thank you so much for having this conversation with me today, Dale. I've quite enjoyed it. I love these conversations. I always learn something new, even if I've talked to you several times. When we have these deeper conversations, there's always new things I learn. So, everybody, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I will hope you have a really wonderful rest of your Monday,
Thank
and I'll
you.
talk to you
You as well.
soon. Bye bye, everybody.
Sounds
See
great.
you next time.